Dun, dun, dun. We are here at the home studios of Sonia Plum Dance Company. And with me tonight is Richard Pye from London and Sarah Barney from East Hampton. A quick note, they were both part of the original cast of Dance of Da Vinci. And interestingly enough, it's almost exactly 2 years since we premiered Dance of Da Vinci. And we canceled Dance of Da Vinci 2.0 almost 2 years exactly from when Richard landed across from the pond. So I just think it's really interesting. So I'm going to start with no, I'm not going to start with a quote. I'm going to tell the audience that the plague, yes, we're talking about the plague and Leonardo and Dance of Da Vinci. Leonardo was inspired by the plague that hit Milan in the late 1400s to create a new city, a better designed city. And I think it's really cool. So here we are. We're going to talk about the plague, but a little bit later. And right now, I'm going to have Richard and Sarah introduce themselves, what they do, and how they came to be a part of the Da Vinci Project.
Cool. Who wants to go first? Shall I go first?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Fabulous. So I'm Richard. As Sonia rightfully said, I was in the original cast of Dance of Da Vinci. I'm a dance artist and movement director from London. And so work across contemporary dance in many, many forms and facets. I studied here in London, and then I studied at SUNY Purchase in New York. And so how did I get involved with Dance of Da Vinci? So Sonia had an ad out online, and I applied and sent video material and CVs and lots of stuff that I'd previously been working with. And we had lots of conversations about the project and my previous work and Sonia's previous work. And then I arrived in the US, and we got started really. They were already, maybe Sarah will tell you a bit about this. So I was a little bit late to the project due to various travel situations. So I wasn't there right from the get-go. It was about, a little while after. And then we got stuck in and we got making. So I guess that's me and my involvement with the project.
There you go. And we'll go on to more of that later. Sarah. So Sarah was there from the very, very beginning. And so we'll delve into that. But Sarah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Well, obviously I'm Sarah. I am a dancer and also an aerialist I guess you could say. I was in an accident about a year ago. I am currently building up strength to be able to do the things that I used to do. Not exactly the way I want to do them or had been doing them, but dance and Sonia and everyone that I've previously worked with has definitely helped me on my journey back to recovery. How I got involved into Sonia's company, I graduated from the high school that Sonia was teaching at, and after graduation she asked me if I wanted to be in her company, and I came and I auditioned with a few other people, and from there we got started working.
Yeah, Sarah came on as an apprentice, and I had her at the Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts, and I loved this little freshman who was just like imaginative and doing all these things. Then she went away for 2 years because of having to, I think it was choices to study or try, or it was balancing that act. And she came back senior year, and she's like this fantastic dancer, aerialist, works with silks, so cool, so strong. I remember the day you accomplished walking 100 steps on your hands. I do believe there's video somewhere around there, Sarah. So you are one of the strongest women I know. So there you have it, Sarah and Richard. The thing that I want to show you now is when I'm going to show you Vitruvian Quartet that Sarah was in. And because that was one of the earliest pieces we started working on. And the quote from Da Vinci's notebooks is, "Motion is created by the destruction of balance." Sarah, do you remember when how we started working on that? It's a long time ago, and it's okay if you don't. I'm going to show you so you get some memories back. Okay, I'm going to screen share. So you two talk while I, fiddle around with the buttons. It's true.
The Vitruvian Quartet, as it says in the name, is a quartet between 2 females and 2 males, I believe, in all casts. It's always been 2 females, 2 males. It's a really quite vibrant quartet, which you're going to see right now. In this cast, I think it's Megan, Corinne, Sarah, and Joey. So 1 male, 3 women. I apologize.
That's okay. This past time I got to do it 2 and 2. We'll talk more about that later. I'm only showing a snippet of it. Oh, yes. There we go. Sarah, you said that was one of your favorite. Oh, let me get out of here. Ah. All right. Oh, where'd she go? There you are, sweetie. You said that was one of your favorite pieces.
My Wi-Fi just stopped.
Oh, well, that's okay. You're back.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's no big deal.
So that was like, Sonia said that was one of your favorite pieces. Like when you started that, it was with Joey, Corinne, and Megan, right? And how did you 4 go about?
It was with Alana, right? Alana.
Yeah, it was with Alana.
Yeah. Yeah, so sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
How did you go about making it?
Was being so strange.
It's okay. It could be your phone. Do I have Richard?
Yeah, you have me.
Okay. Do I have you back, Sarah?
It keeps cutting out.
I think, yeah, you do keep cutting out. It's better from London. Oh my goodness. Are you back? She's not really back yet. Okay, we'll go on to Richard then. Are you back, Sarah? Oh, she keeps freezing. That's funny. Okay.
Move on and we can come back when she gets back.
Yeah. Well, the next thing we can do is, so you didn't tell me what your favorite section to work on was, and maybe you didn't have a favorite section.
Me? Perfect. I really liked flying and arches, I think, the most.
Yes.
So especially I really like the build up from the three like Lamari, Joey, and I on stage in a sort of trio into like the amalgamation of what then became flying. Also accompanied with the music. I think that actually is my favorite piece of music from Da Vinci, Dance of Da Vinci. And so, yeah, I just really enjoyed working with that. And I think actually having us three men on stage at the beginning of that, doing something, because there's in the whole show, there's lots of lifting and hardcore going for it, really active and aesthetic moving, and then actually in the beginning of that piece there's these three young men on stage, and it's quite tender and gentle, and then it really slowly accumulates into something a bit more dramatic's the wrong words, but something bigger in a way. So yeah, I really enjoy the progression of that, and I really enjoy dancing that. And it seamlessly goes from something quite simple and intimate in a way, even though it's on a massive stage, but to then something that is you shut your eyes and you just go away with the dancing, and then all of a sudden there's not 8 people on stage and we're flinging each other around. So I just really like the seamless nature of how there's that crescendo of the movement.
I love that section too. I really like the same thing, the build up, and that the build up. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous, and I wish I would love. Well, we're just gonna have to visit that another time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that. That's cool. You're back, Sarah. Are you back, sweetie?
Kind of.
Kind of.
I can hear guys most of the time.
Okay.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, that's fine. So Sarah, what did you like about the process? It was different than being in school, so that's why I'm asking you. She's freezing up.
I can't catch what you're saying.
Oh, what did you like about the process?
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's okay. Bummer. Oh no. Sometimes houses are like that if you're not near whatever. That's okay. Don't worry on it, okay? You want
me to talk a little bit about the process?
I want to start a conversation, but I can't hear what you guys are saying.
Process. Oh no. Maybe I should type. You know what? Sarah, I'm going to type something to you. Can you read it?
Probably.
Yeah. There's a side screen with chat on it. And this is all good stuff. Can you see that? No. No, honey? You're breaking up. It's okay. Okay.
Do you want me to chat about the process whilst you're figuring that out?
Yeah. All right. Let's move on from the process. So, Sarah, if you jump in, just jump in, okay? I'm really happy to have you here. The play. So what are you doing in London, Richard? And how is that different than what's going on here?
Well, I can't pretend to know what's going on there. I am keeping up with the news a fair bit, but then I feel like actually sometimes that's, you know, it's not necessarily productive to, you know, keep up with the news. I just scroll down and read so much, and it's all conflicting, and so sometimes I try to do like a week without looking at the news, because nothing much is changing for us anyway, you know, like our life isn't going to change for some time yet. So but yeah, so here what's happening in general life, we're all in lockdown, so you're only allowed out to go to the shops and to do exercise in green spaces. You're only allowed out one person at a time. You can't go in groups. Yeah, that's kind of the situation regarding to that. I guess regarding to like arts industries and stuff like that, luckily there's lots of, we live in a wonderful country. It's not always wonderful. There are lots of things we'd all change, but you know, even this Conservative government at the moment have been amazing for the self-employed, and also lots of institutions. So there has been everyone can apply for welfare basically, and lots of arts institutions have had grants so that they're able to furlough their staff so that they can keep them on. Lots of theatres and galleries, museums, art spaces have moved on to digital content. So I watched the National Theatre's 12th Night this afternoon. Yeah, so there's still lots going on, which is weird in this kind of scenario. There's lots of things moving online, whole shows to different parts of digital content, but then also no one knows when people are going to be in theatres again. And here they're saying that social distancing is going to last until probably next spring. So
Really?
you know, yeah, so although theatres are still commissioning things, and they are still commissioning things, when they will be able to be in the theatres, nobody quite knows. So there's a bit of an unknown there, and there's a bit of a buzz around outdoor work at the moment. So there's lots of funding and grants available for outdoor work, hopefully to be made and performed over the summer, so that people can be outside in wide open spaces and can be viewing these things from a safe distance from people outside of their households. So it's not too bleak, but it's also, there's no end in sight. You know, there's nobody knows quite who or what or how we're going to come out of this.
That's really interesting. I'm not surprised about the social distancing. Are the universities closed down as well? Did they?
Universities are all online. Yeah, universities are all online. So everyone is creating digital content, whether that's lectures, whether that's, you know, online classes, study groups. Like Zoom has been amazing for this. I don't know if anyone really cared about Zoom before this, but you know, like it's got so many facets in which you can. So I was teaching for a pre-vocational class that I am a faculty tutor on here in London, and Zoom is incredible. Like it enables up to, I think it's 60, but we had like 40 people, and you can break them off down into study groups. So then the children got to work with each other, which is just so amazing, rather than you just teaching something on Skype to nobody really, you know, having a conversation or communication with you. So you can split them into like groups of 6 or 10 or whatever, and then they will have web chat and conversation amongst themselves, and then come back to the main group. Like the ways that digital technology is adapting to these scenarios is amazing. Also, the way that institutions are having to adapt, I think, is really positive. The only thing that I am really worried about that is that lots of things are happening for free because the platforms aren't there in a way that you can necessarily say, oh, I want to put this out there, but I need people to pay for it. So even like the National Theatre, even like the Southern, like the massive institutions here in London are putting lots of free content out there, lots of free work, which has been commissioned, so the artists are being paid. But but I worry if, and at the beginning, at the end, it's like, you know, if you've enjoyed this, please consider if you're in a financial position to donate, blah, 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 blah. Amazing. But I do really worry about the value of the work that we do, and the way in which society interacts with the value of the work that artists make. And I think if we as a community of artists are too adaptable, and this sounds super pessimistic, but, you know, it's just a worry or a fear that I have. I think if we're too adaptable to be able to fit this into our lives, at times like this, people want like relief, people want arts and culture, people have the time to do things that they wouldn't necessarily do in their day-to-day lives. So, you know, people are tuning into these things, and people are, you know, like there are wider audiences, but does this mean that they will then interact in a way with, oh, art is free? And actually that then poses a problem with how we leave this situation, asking them for then pay for something that they have now been accustomed to as being free.
Yep. We're having lots of discussions that I'm having lots of discussions, and then with the head of the arts organization here in Hartford, same thing here. And I've been watching the dance companies, the bigger dance companies, who's switching over to monetizing, and that is being discussed. Like that, yeah, you don't want it to go down that road again with artists not being paid. Absolutely. And I was talking with our new and who's going to lead the ballet component of Sonia Plum Dance Company, Carol Roderick, and she agreed. She said, you know, she feels like some of these teachers are going to shoot themselves in the foot because they're, you know, they're giving it away for free. And I've seen you know, she has a friend who will coach online and get paid, you know, for it. And then a good friend and colleague of mine who runs Kimberly Boutique, the for-profit studios are like, her daughter is still taking classes, you know, less money, but they are supporting the teachers, and I think that's really important. I think
totally. And I just want to reiterate that here, like the places that are doing that, are commissioning the artists. So the artists are being paid, but my worry is more about how the society is then interacting with free art, because then there comes a time, however later down the line that may be, that then all art must be public art, and where is the money coming from for that? That's my question. You know, that the way in which we have previously seen this sector is that, yes, okay, it's subsidized by trust foundations, government, depending on the country that you're in, but it's mainly down to the kindness and the want for an exchange from the audience. You know, they pay for the pleasure of seeing or experiencing this art. And so if this goes on too long, we don't know how long this is going to ask. I just don't know if there's going to be an impact or a deficit in the way that people want to pay or not pay for for the privilege. And then where is that money coming from? Right. So it's not that the artists aren't being paid right now. I mean, also there's lots of things, like there's some really great things on Instagram and social media where like communities of artists are feeling underproductive, so putting stuff out there just because they want to put stuff out there. And I think that that's great if you feel, you know, that you want to do that and it's not about making money for you and it's not an enterprise and blah, 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 blah. But I do think that that has a negative effect on the way that people see our sector.
Yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely. We'll come back to that in a sec because I do have some more questions about London. But Sarah, can we hear you? Can you hear us? I don't think so. No, her mouth is closed. Oh my gosh. I'm going to show some more video. Should we watch some more video?
Yeah, great.
For a good 5.
Oh, I think she's coming in, but like 5 minutes afterwards.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Okay. Sarah, just talk whenever you want to. Okay, she can't, yeah. That's okay. So I have a question. So in London, though, is everything like the bookstores, is all of that like shut down?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's all been shut down for 8 weeks or something. 6.5 weeks, something like that. Yeah. So as soon as we went into, before we went into what they call lockdown, I don't know if it's called that there as well, but we were in social distancing measures, and then pubs were still open, restaurants were still open, but and shops were still open, but at supposedly limited capacity.
Okay.
But the week that we had that, or the 10 days that we had that before the lockdown happened, it was really, really sunny, and it had just been winter. So obviously all the pubs were full. Everyone was going, like just because it was like, and everyone was supposed to be social distancing, but the parks were full, like everything, because it was the first like weekend of summer, really. Oh, not summer, but spring. Yeah. So timing wise, I don't think that really worked in their favor. So anyway, then we went into lockdown, and since then it's all non-essential businesses are shut. So it's just food stores and hardware stores that are open, and like transport stuff. So like bike shops are open so that people don't have to use public transport. And apart from that, some coffee shops are open for takeaway. Some delis are open for takeaway, but yeah, everything is shut.
Yeah. Huh.
And there's police in, and it's super like nice. It's not like an aggressive police state here at the moment, but if you do go to the parks to work out, or do whatever, get your exercise, there's police presence in the streets and on the parks. And if you're sat down doing nothing, or having a cigarette, or having a coffee, they just go up to you and they say, "I'm really sorry, you're not exercising, can you go home?"
Wow. Is it that way all the way through the UK, or is it just in London?
Yeah, no, all the way through the UK. So my parents are in Norfolk, a house by the seaside, and like on the beaches and stuff, there's police telling people to go home.
Wow.
They're telling people that have like obviously driven there to then go on a walk. They're telling them to go on walks around their villages and homes, rather than driving to new places to then take walks or exercise there. Yeah, no, it's all over the UK.
We'll finish up in a bit, just because we lost Sarah, but here there's a lot smaller towns are more lax, I should say, which I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, and I'll comment on that later, but
I think it's the opposite here, because it's like lots of my friends that have from London that have gone to family homes or somewhere elsewhere in the countryside, they tell me, so here you go to the supermarket, you can you queue up 2 meters apart from each other, but then you go roam around the supermarket, it's just like normal. But in small towns and places outside London, or outside cities, that you hand over a list of what you want at the front of the supermarket. This is why they've all supermarkets have hired like in the tens of thousands of people across the UK over this thing. Yeah, so hiring tens of thousands of people. And yeah, so you hand over your shopping list, and someone goes with a trolley, runs it all round, and then you pay for it at the pay station in front, to minimize any contact with people inside the grocery store.
Do you guys have to wear masks?
So everyone is wearing masks. like not everyone, but lots of people are wearing masks. But actually, our government isn't telling us to wear masks. They're saying to keep 2 meters apart, and don't touch your face, wash your hands all the time. But supposedly, if you use reusable masks, it's quite bad.
Really?
Because you should, if you're going to use a mask, basically they're saying you should use disposable masks. And then the government has said that the trouble with that is the importing of all of those disposable masks is really tricky. And so if you're using basically what they're saying is that reusing masks is just as bad as not wearing them, and so you're much better off wearing a scarf, and when you come back to your house, put that in the washing machine on a hot wash, and then it's all clean again. So they are saying that it is beneficial to wear disposable masks, but then they've been honest in the fact that they think that the importing of that is really tricky, and it should be what are they calling it, PPE, personal protective something equipment. They're saying that should be the first come, first serve for key workers, transport workers, and the NHS, which is totally true. So,
Okay. There you go. The plague in London and the plague here. All right. I'm going to end on a happy note. And I think since we've lost Sarah, we should just might as well finish up. But got a bit off my agenda, and that's okay. So I don't know what I want to ask you. I'm not sure. I think maybe we've done it. If you were to take away anything from your knowledge of Da Vinci and the project, what would you take away?
So I think obviously I really loved the process, and it was a really collaborative process between all of us and you, and I really enjoyed that. I very much enjoyed performing it also, and the collaboration with the music and the staging, projections. But I actually think that one of the most valuable things that I got from the project was going to Windsor Castle and chatting with experts about Da Vinci and talking about the drawings, and going to the Queen's collection and really understanding a bit more about the man behind what we were doing. I mean, obviously there was countless research and historical knowledge and reading and stuff that we did in the studio, and of course you did at home, Sonia, but reading it almost felt like it was first-hand knowledge. Obviously it's not. It's 500 more than years later, and the people that we spoke to have never met Da Vinci, but it felt like they really knew and understood the man in which that we'd been researching, and that was really valuable for me.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because my 2 visits to London, and the first Windsor Castle, and then going back to see the original drawings, I felt the same way. Is there's just that made it much more real, and talking with Martin Clayton, and there's nothing like seeing a 500-year-old drawing like right in front of you. It was beautiful, and I think we could do a whole nother broadcast on that one. But maybe did you get to see the original drawings? You did. Good. What, Monk? What did you have a favorite? And what did you notice?
I just really I just really noticed, like, I studied art a lot at school and blah, 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 blah. And I'm really into the contemporary art scene in London, and what we make now with what we have is incredible. But what is more incredible about that is like what he made, or they made in the Renaissance period, with basically what we would call now nothing, you know?
Yep.
And the artistry that goes into that is phenomenal, and the vision that you have to do that, I think, is beautiful. And the simplicity of the chalks and the charcoal and the drawing utensils that he had, you can by no means call his like final pieces, the final product, simple, you know. And I think that that's really beautiful. Yeah, I think it's really beautiful, and it's like obviously aged really well, you know. I think everything, if in that context, if you're looking at it 500 years on, then it's obviously aged well. But yeah, there's like definitely there's definitely a place for it in our modern world still, which is really bonkers. I really doubt that much that we're doing now is going to have a place in 500 years time, you know. So it's really, but then maybe he thought exactly the same. I doubt it, because I think he knew that he was an incredible visionary. But yeah, I think the relevance to present day is phenomenal.
Yeah, I think, and I won't go on myself. I think one of the what we don't see, I think what the general public sees is the very big stuff, and yeah, you know, the Last Supper, the Mona Lisa, you know, this and that, and you know, a few of the machines. But when I got to actually see the you know, the drawings of the, and I wish I had the names in front of me, the flowers, the plants that were used in Leda and the Swan, or the maps, you know, the
it's beautiful, yeah,
gorgeous, right? And to be able to have whatever that bird's eye view, or how much time it would take to redo that. I think one of the interesting things, and this is because I'm a woman, and I know there were he didn't you know, draw many women or dissect men. I mean, I know he dissected some women, but there weren't a lot of drawings, and I know that's because of the time. But I just find it really interesting, which is why I had to do Vitruvian Man, Woman. But it's also, I guess I'm saying this interesting because how society has also changed, but how in women artists, in how we view the woman's body and stuff like that. I've also been watching a ton of stuff on Netflix. So that's why it's kind of coming into my mind. But yeah, it's gorgeous. So
totally. But I'm talking off the top of my head now, and I don't know if this is necessarily right, but from what I know about the time and from the conversations that we had with Martin and blah, 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 what Da Vinci was really like about was purveying the world and anatomy and fauna and flora, and actually the way in which women were like particularly displayed in art or culture at that time was really hyper sexualized, in a very different way to it is now, whether that's about, you know, Mother Nature or like whatever, and I maybe draw a connection to that in that his art of all levels, you know, his drawings, his writings, his calculations are all very much based on the physical world and not necessarily the emotions. You know, even his writings about the connections between animals and That like it's all like even storks or elephants, like things that we picked up on in the actual Dance of Da Vinci piece. It's all very pragmatic. You know, it's not necessarily about the emotional play between those things. And I wonder if that's like going against the way in which the female was very much displayed in that time.
Huh. That's interesting that you say that. Okay. I'm thinking back to my process and what I was figuring out as a choreographer along the way and what came about. Huh. Except in his notebooks, there are the way they put it, so I'm just calling them chapters for no reason. He does have emotions, and he does have.
I'm not saying he doesn't have emotions. I think he's very emotive about the things that he does, but the way he doesn't necessarily give the items or the animals or the like representation of emotions. It's literally it's observation.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I think so. But
I feel like he's not superimposing something that he can't see. He doesn't prescribe something that he can't see.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it.
Do you know what I mean? He's very pragmatic in all of his writing that we worked from. You know, it's very, yes, there is talk of emotions, and yes, it is about connections and relationships, but it's all obvious is not the right word, but it's all there to be read, and he's reading it.
Huh. Okay. I'm gonna have to go back.
I don't know.
I don't know. I know. It's a thought, isn't it? It's a thought. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna clock out there. It's 45 minutes is a good time for a broadcast, I think. So we'll end here. Richard from London and Sarah, whom I miss terribly, but I'm glad she was on for a while. So next week, Sean Coco's joining us to talk about
probably undermine everything that I've just said, but that's perfect because he's very much in the know and amazing at what he does.
Yeah, but we all come from somewhere. Yeah, he's gonna have a lot to say. It's gonna be so cool. I'm gonna end the broadcast. Do you want to hang for a sec? Just 2 minutes, okay?